with your long arms.
We need the charge cord ASAP, gentlemen.
That's a real shame.
I think it's going to reach all the way over
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Welcome back to Talking Reckless's Game of the Year.
Murder.
Game of the Year murder. Hang on.
Wait.
What?
Unplug that phone for a sec.
Do it.
If you plug that phone in, everything starts humming.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Real talk.
Well,
It can be over here, like charge for a bit.
Try it
over
matter
there.
over there.
Yeah, that was wild.
Hold on, here we
I
go.
think it's 'cause
Wait for it.
crossing streams.
The current, yeah.
If you cross, it might just be the headphone cable actually, but
Magnets, yeah.
we'll figure that out. Welcome back to Roll It. Fuck. 3, 2.
No?
Oh, you're tempting fate right now.
Nerd. Maybe it's one of those.
Oh.
nerd.
happening.
Say it, nerd.
I'll have to believe you.
You know, shut the fuck up, please.
Everyone shut up.
Welcome back to Talking Reckless's Game of the Year 2019. It's time for Best Story.
This is where shit goes south.
This is where it all...
Jugulars get attacked. Liquor gets thrown. Eads falls out of his chair.
This is where I fell into my chair last year.
It's fucking time. Here we go.
We must be at the bottom of this dock, eh? Here we go. All right.
Oh, what if we started with a little bit of lubricant?
Oh, right.
Okay.
Because some of them have
Yeah,
to do
that's
shots.
right.
I forgot about
There you
that.
go.
Die, Borgia.
That's right. Line of shots up as you're doing them. If you are. Cheers, cheers, cheers to you at home. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Skull.
Oh,
Got it, boys.
that's got it.
Scotty.
Welcome
That's
to
the
Gotti.
taste of Gotti.
The nominees, gentlemen, for Best Story are The Walking Dead, the final season, Life is Strange 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Outer Wilds, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice,
Every game.
Devil May Cry 5, Dark Pictures Anthologies Man of Medan, Control, Gears 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, The Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Jedi, Fallen
There's
Order.
plenty I already know are just getting cut
So
right
should we just
the
cut
fuck
Death Stranding
out.
like right now?
There's not a bad story amongst them. Save Kingdom Hearts 3 can go.
Does anyone have any other additions?
I'm
top
gonna
of their heads
say
here?
Death
Best
Stranding and Jedi Fallen Order. Get them out of there.
Those are not additions.
Also, also Gears 5 based on what I've heard.
I'm gonna need beginning, middle, and ends,
Okay, good.
and twists.
All right, let's
For me
start-
to decide
let's start
properly.
again here.
And this is where it fucking falls off. the
Oh, you
rails
said
for me.
addition.
This is getting weird.
Walking Dead,
Walking Dead.
season 4.
Season 4.
trying
Only
to even
about
think-
25% of it came out this year, I
I'm
think.
trying to even think what the story of the whole season is. You're raising
Yeah,
AJ.
it's raising AJ,
AJ.
yeah.
Okay.
He's
You're-
a real piece of shit.
He's a real piece of shit a lot of the time. It is very much central about you being with this almost Lost Boys kind of situation with a bunch of kids in a, I want to say school.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of fending off the evil adults.
Dog named Rosie.
You have a dog named Rosie who's
Great
a real
dog.
champ. Yeah, I really
Good
like
dog.
Rosie. I thought the story was good, but not as good as prior Walking Dead stories, and not as good as the individual moments which we've recognized.
100% agree.
Cut it.
Let's get rid of it.
Right,
Let's go.
cut it right now.
Hooray.
Ruthless.
Life is Strange 2.
Now, I haven't finished this, so I want you guys to sell me on it if it needs to be sold.
Yeah.
Because I fell off and didn't care for
I
it.
fell off Life is Strange 1. I never even beat it.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
man.
All right, you get the hell out of here.
dead to all of us.
I don't give a shit what you think.
I don't think Life is Strange 2 needs the... Do you want to make an impassioned
No.
argument for it?
It's probably worse than Walking Dead.
I totally agree.
Cut it.
And it's weird to talk about because it centers so many themes about racism, and it's very easy to sit here as a
I like
white...
a lot of things that not great story is trying to tell people.
Totally. And it feels easy to sit here as a white 20-year-old straight male and be like, that didn't resonate with me.
20?
28.
Oh, I said 20s.
20.
Jesus, did I just have an
White
existential thing?
20-year-old.
But it just didn't, like, every single you meet you meet someone and you're like, I bet this person hates the two main protagonists are Mexican
Right.
brothers.
That's what someone was mentioning, too. Alex
every
Matouche.
single person you meet, before you've met, they're like, I bet this person is racist against Mexicans.
They were-
and the first word out of their mouth is a
Ding.
slur, and you're like,
Yeah.
yep, of course. And
They were saying, like, I wonder what Max is thinking being, of Hispanic.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't played. I'm sorry, man.
It is-
Although I think I saw a little bit of you play it, so I think I experienced a little bit of that.
it is, and it just, again, it feels so weird. Like, who am I to, I need to check my privilege and all that.
You're saying I need to play it to get outraged.
Maybe, but at the same time, like it is almost. It felt like bad games. It felt like bad storytelling in a way where before the first character, you're like, okay, let's see what this is about. Oh, this old white guy hates Mexicans. Go figure.
Yeah.
And then you meet some more people like, okay, what do these? Oh, these two Americans, they hate Mexicans. Weird. And then the next person, you're like, do you guys hate Mexicans? Yep, they hate Mexicans too.
So it's kind of sounding like maybe it was a crutch that they used?
Yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
Almost every single protagonist you meet in every single episode is a white person that just doesn't like Mexicans.
And that's why I fell off. It wasn't necessarily that it wasn't resonating with me, because I mean,
this is a real problem
Right.
that
Yeah.
exists, but
Absolutely.
like
Even
as a way
here.
to tell a story and play a video
And a
game.
problem that I would say all of us fall on, we'll say, the side of the protagonist in this game.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
none of us are like, well, this
100%.
doesn't make sense.
But it's just like, I don't know, like you said, it just gets repetitive. It's
Totally.
the same thing over and over
Where-
again that I'm like,
you can call this
What
gimmick
are we doing?
before the episode is even. You're like 1 minute into a 2 or 3 hour episode, and you're like, I bet the thing is we meet some racists, and then they lock us up and we escape, and that repeats itself over and over and over and over and
repetitive,
over.
yeah.
And it's not even entirely, because I feel like that thing happened twice. Like that was a big plot point twice. But I more felt like the big crutch was what's hot in American politics today.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, this is the episode about should you have a gun. This is the episode about the religious nuts. This is.
That's a very good point as well.
Yeah, like it was very much like they were trying to hit the beats and show their kind of political opinions on a lot of the things that are going on in the States right now and all over the world. In a way where I'm like, I get it, and I like that this is out there, but it is maybe a little ham-fisted in times where
100%.
it's like, where this is the episode about guns. And I'm like, okay.
And there's just no like in Life is Strange 2, there are the protagonists and everyone else is a quote bad guy almost, where everyone else is like,
Well, not the big blogger.
You do
The
meet
fat
some
blogger.
You do meet some good folks along the way,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, the people you run into are just opposed. They are
Yeah.
opposed to you because of you are Mexican and they are rednecks
The best episode of that whole series
or
was a
religious
very
nuts or whatever.
self-contained. A bunch of you and a bunch of people about your age are working on this weed farm.
Yeah.
And you go and you work on the weed farm. You do your job, and then you
Of
come
course, Mexicans working on a weed farm.
back. Right?
Only one Mexican, which is you,
Yeah.
the player.
And your brother.
Of course.
He's too young. He doesn't actually work on
He's
it. but-
around there,
Yeah,
post
he's
getting in
around.
trouble.
Continue. I didn't want to.
No, totally. But you're right. That's kind of the like. Okay, yeah, of course they went this way with it. These are the things that crop up, the stereotypes that they use over and over again. But that best episode is where, like, after you're done at the weed farm and before you go, like, you're basically your home when you're working there is just this campsite
Just hanging
with a
out.
bunch of hippies and a bunch of like people who really had nowhere else to go, and we're like, we just work on this weed farm, make enough money to get by, and I don't actually think they make
All
any
the
money.
weed
They're
you
just
want,
allowed to
man.
stay on the property. And that was the best episode because that was the episode that made me reminded me the most of the first Life is Strange, where it's just like, it's just me and all these teens, and we're
Yeah.
fucking, like, I'm being mean to some of the teens because they're mean to me, and like the problems aren't that big right now.
Yeah.
Am I going to go to bed with my brother who relies on me, or am I going to go skinny dipping with the hippie?
Yeah.
That seems like a real Brandon problem to run into.
we're in full spoiler territory now, I assume. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's kind of the nature of.
I haven't finished it. I would like to know how the Captain Spirit thing tied into this.
You run into him in episode 3.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
Two or
3.
And you kind of get to witness his like abusive dad.
I think that's the first episode.
Is it actually?
It's
Yeah.
not the first.
The prequel
Not the
was
first.
The Adventures of Captain Spirit, where
Right.
you play
Yes.
as the kid who he like, falls out of the treehouse, and at the very end, it seems like he can maybe levitate or something. He like catches himself above the
Right.
snow.
And then you like he like looks and he sees the two guys from this.
see someone holding a hand out
show.
and is like levitating him.
Yeah, I don't even think he has
So
his
it,
hand
was
out.
it must have been the second
Because we
episode
didn't
then.
know that. We were
Yeah,
like
I
speculating.
think you're
Like, I
right.
wonder if they caught him. It was just like the two kids from this game like waving and being like, "Oh, you're all right," and everything. And then you realize that those characters who you end up being are who caught him in that scenario. And then you kind of befriend him, and he's kind of Daniel, who's the younger kid that you're taking care of's only real friend that he gets along with on these travels. But then what happens? His dad.
You got hit by a car on
His
mine.
dad
So you got
hits
hit by a
him
car in
with a
mine,
car.
too.
His dad hits his son with a car.
Jesus.
Fuck. Intentionally?
No, accidentally. But you have to I think that's the big choice in that episode. Is are you going to let Daniel stop the car and give up his powers, or are you
like,
going to just let
reveal
the
his
car?
powers?
Yeah,
Yeah, do
or are
like
you
Captain
going to let
Spirit
the
get hit or whatever.
exactly?
I think it was the
so.
cops who ran him over. Because I'm pretty sure the
Of
cops.
course, it's the cops.
Pretty sure it was
you
the
know what
cops
I mean?
who ran him over in my playthrough.
That would be
Also-
in keeping with this game, but I'm pretty sure it was the dad.
Worth
I think it was
mentioning,
the dad.
the thing that kicks that story off is what does the cop show up to your house? Do you remember? Cop shows
yeah,
up to
you
your
have to
house.
fight with that kid.
You fight
Oh,
in
right.
the
Kid or whatever.
yard.
You and a neighbor are fighting, and your
Yeah.
dad
Shove him and he,
cop
lands on a rock?
shoves him, lands on a rock, and bangs his head. And the implication is he maybe fell bad and died.
Jeez.
Cop shows up, points his gun at you, and you're like, I didn't do anything. We're just playing. And then your dad comes out, and the cop is pointing a gun at him, and the implication is very much he's Mexican. Bang.
Yeah, shoot first, ask questions
Yeah,
later.
in a way
Yeah.
that again, that thing they just beat you over the head with it.
Yeah.
They beat you over the head with it.
All right, take it off the list.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
All right, sir.
I went skinny dipping.
I like mushroom. Mushrooms are better.
She made fun of my.
It sounds like that they really went hard on the whole.
She made fun of it, and then
It's
we did the
repetitive.
tugging at the whole.
Every single episode.
It's okay. It's okay to address race problems and stuff like
Yeah.
that in video
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's very
It's
important to do that
encouraged, yeah.
sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
and
totally.
encourage. But if that's your only gimmick and you're not really having any story that has a spine on its own,
Yeah.
feels like a
what are you
crutch.
doing? I don't fucking care
Really
anymore.
feels like a crutch. Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right, take it off the list.
So
All right, Scott.
I just don't think you guys will comprehend it because.
Our simpleton mind.
What's this? I'm Mexican.
It is an extension that actually left me satisfied in a lot of ways of some of the dumb story stuff they were doing. To the point that I'll probably drop $40 on an expansion that came out yesterday.
Yep.
Or DLC.
I was looking at it.
You aren't ready. You all aren't ready. Cut it.
Really? Take it off the list. Good.
20 years of story.
Y'all are ready.
So a single game can't contain it.
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yay.
Team Fire Emblem.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
good.
the story of Fire Emblem Three Houses? Sell the rest of the table here.
Edelgard's going to war,
So-
and then there's the three territories that
I'm
you
in.
side with, and you choose church, state, yellow, or blue.
Okay,
All right, it stays on the list.
The way you describe that, I'm not really pulled in.
I think the shining part of Fire Emblem is the character development.
Yeah.
and maybe not the overarching story.
No, it's
Okay.
the individual characters and how much you learn about each and every one of them, and
Yeah.
you care about them. Not more so. It's kind of a generic
It sounds very analogous to
overall story.
Persona or any other amount of. There are a ton of anime games
Yeah.
like that where
Yeah.
There's something
You-
going on. There's something bigger. there's something
overarching
going on.
story.
Yeah.
You fight God. You always fight God.
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's
pretty
more,
much.
It's more about the friends you make.
Yeah.
Along
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
It is a great ensemble of characters that you hang out with in a way where the story for me maybe that's why I fell off was that I was like I don't really know where this is going. I would like to retroactively go back and say a moment worth acknowledging is probably the time skip moment in Three Houses because I think that's the moment where you're like oh fuck this this breaks open in a weird big way that it didn't seem like it was going to.
We feel okay about taking it off.
I think so. As in
More
an overarching story.
maybe best new
Yeah.
character than story.
Yeah.
Outer Wilds.
I think Outer Wilds has a phenomenal story.
So do I. Maybe my knock against it is it is tough to experience all of it, where
Yes.
everyone kind of gets a piece of it in a way,
And
which
you-
is maybe even a strength of it.
And
but
you can't control the order,
that's right.
which we've kind of talked about in the whole losing all the best moments because it's different for everyone else.
Yeah.
But I think those the way I can tell you right now that I can't put names to a lot of the characters on those glyphs that you're just reading.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I was there with the couple that was working on
Yep.
the Sun Station
Yep.
and being like, "You can, my husband's gonna go back with you, and you're gonna stay here." And I was there, and I understood all that in a way where you would see these same conversations happening from multiple different angles. Where it's you got to call the people from the Sun Station back. The Sun Station's broken. We're fucked.
Yeah.
And the disappointment and everything. Where it is very much like you said. It's tough to put it in order and kind of say, well, this happened first, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
You hear that too?
And we're looking.
Weird. It's okay. There's
It's a ghost.
There's like a
It's a
phantom
ghost.
ring in the mics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from me.
We're laughing at something
It's
different.
from you. Are you making the phantom ring in the mics?
No, I'm not.
No.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
no.
Carry on, everybody. Carry on.
Move your phone!
That's
Now it's
making it
awful.
happen.
Now you gotta move it.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here.
I don't
Hold
have
on. Everyone
headphones.
quiet for a second?
Outer Wilds.
Oh,
It's gone.
we're all right.
We're okay. Sorry. I thought the Outer Wilds story is like, if once you've been through it and spent some time kind of thinking about everything, and maybe even played through it a little bit as I did after you played through it the first time, and you start being able to kind of put the pieces together, it just seems like they didn't have any holes in the plot. They tied up all the loose ends, and just when I was thinking like, well, I don't really understand what happened here, I would go back and find somewhere where I was like, oh, that's what happened there. That makes total sense. That's how they all died.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the sun didn't explode. How did they all die? And it took me until like late in the game where I was like, oh, a meteor fucking killed everyone. A ghost matter meteor.
Yep. That's where all the. I am totally with you that story. It is maybe the best story of the year.
There's some really good stuff there, even just from me playing it a little bit. You know what I mean, I could tell that there's some neat stuff there.
And
Yep.
it is not voiced. It is kind of a atypical way to experience a story in today's day and age, where
Do you think? Here's my question for you guys. Do you think that it would be better if, say, they put in the effort of having like you go into like seeing like flashbacks of this, like say you for the very important glyph stuff, like something, say it was like not highlighted in orange, this one was highlighted in a different color, which meant it was significant, and then as you read that, you got like a little bit of a more of a visual interpretation, maybe slightly voiced. Do you think that would make it better, or do you think it doesn't really matter?
it would be. I don't think it would make it better. It'd be very, very different. Where like the way that information is pieced out to you, it would be such a different thing.
Right.
Like
It's so many of the strengths are also its weaknesses, right? Where it's like you can't. It's tough to talk about the story because it was never like, oh, it's crazy how this happened. Because I was like, well, did you know about all this previous information yet, or did you get that after? It's just poking at it from different directions, and every now and then your brain will like make that connection where it's like, oh, I see, this is from that other thing.
I read about this on this other planet.
Should we talk about the story
I think
on like a
we
grander
have to.
sense?
I think we totally have to, because I think Outer Wilds should be on the, at least right now. I think it makes the first cut, and I think we have to.
Is that a
talk about
game
the story.
where if you're force fed some of this information, that's a benefit to it?
Absolutely not. No,
No?
it is very much. It is like it is like the Myst games or the Riven games of old. It is you discovering. You can beat the game in 4 minutes. Or less than, if you know how to do it. Like the only thing you're getting is information. It's learning how the world works.
Yeah, the loop is available to be solved right from the get go. In fact, there's an achievement for
doing it on the
just
first
doing
one.
it on the first try.
And so much of it is like that joy of discovery of like you figuring out a thing and being like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
And
And I like the little like the board in your ship that is very much one of those like murder mystery boards where it's like pictures of stuff that you've seen and then little strings,
question
like,
marks
where you're
sometimes.
like, what does this mean? And it's like there's more to discover over
was
here
really
because there's a
cool.
big question mark. So it at least will tell you if you go poke around this area, you'll find some information that you didn't know.
Yeah.
I guess without, I don't know if we need to spoil the whole thing. The overarching story is basically this ancient precursor race is looking for this eye of the universe.
Protheans.
It's setting
Protheans.
it's very it's sending a signal out.
Yeah,
and they're
they've-
like, we got to find this signal.
And they've built all this architecture, these structures on all these planets and things.
Right.
Yes, mystery signal. They have to track it down.
Right.
And
They come to our solar system.
that's right.
And immediately start like the very first like kind of stop they make is one of the first stops after they send their ships out is like they land on the moon of your home planet, and basically try and build this technological contraption that will help them zero in on the eye of the universe.
Yeah, it's like a big radar thing that
Yeah.
tracks things down.
The thing that you learn is the eye of the universe is a quantum thing that's constantly moving in the same way that the quantum moon, if you're not looking at it, it's
Doesn't exist.
all over the place.
Technically doesn't exist until you're looking at it.
Right. So it fails on the moon, so they start kind of spreading out and trying to find these different ways. And the people on Giants Deep do their own experiment. They're building this big like satellite going around Giants Deep that is basically shooting probes out. They think the way to find it is to shoot probes out.
And other people are messaging them and being like, yo, don't... the other people are like, we're going to tell these people to only use 100% power. Really, they can use 150 because we know they're going to go for our limits.
Yeah.
And
And
then
we
the
know
other,
these two as characters
Yes.
are going to push.
We know they're
the
gonna fuck
fucking
with it.
limits.
I
And then
remember reading that exact stuff.
the
Yeah.
other two characters being like, well, we know that these other two people are leaving us overhead, so let's go to 500%.
Yeah,
That'll
they're like,
probably
they
be
probably
fine.
gave us the overhead, so let's just push it.
And then the whole fucking probe cannon explodes.
And that's the thing you see at the very, like, you open your eyes at the beginning of every loop
Yeah.
and you can see Giants Deep, and the fucking probe cannon is blowing up. It's the very first thing you see.
That's what starts the loop.
Shoots something out, shoots a probe out, and just blows up. God, it's so hard to like.
I know. And it's the kind of the long and the short of it is they discover the universe is going to end, right? The Nomai know that everything is gonna
I
poof
don't
eventually,
think
don't
that
they?
they ever knew that. No, I think
It's
they
just
were. I think they
coincidence
were
that-
totally trying to just find the eye of the universe.
It's kind of just coincidence that
Yeah.
we happen to save. Okay,
Right.
I sort
Well, it's
of-
not coincidence. It kicks off because our sun blows up.
Yes.
Which kind of makes us the chosen one.
That's right.
Because the sun blows up on our planet, which
But
is basically.
you basically learn you're following these Nomai readings for so long and going to their structures and learning about all these incredible things they built, and then you learn that at the end of it all, they failed. The sun, they could not blow up the sun. The sun did not go off. Everything they've been working towards has been for nothing.
So then you kind of shift gears and you realize, like, okay, well, now we're at the point years after the fact where the sun is naturally
Yes.
blowing
and
up.
they have like they took things from the vessel and they basically doomed their civilization trying to do this.
Right.
They brought their own demise about it and they fumbled the ending right at the finish line and it wiped them all out.
Right.
And you are discovering like picking up those pieces
Because
in
there's
a
this
way.
comet that flew super close to the sun and exploded.
It's so
and
fucked.
put ghost matter everywhere, which is basically like a gas
Yeah.
that kills everything and then dissipates over time. So after they were all killed, it eventually dissipated over time, and our race was kind of born and thrived. And they talk about that stuff where like one of the very first guy you talk to is like guarding a pen full of ghost matter, which is basically kind of your tutorial to ghost matter, where he's like, don't go in this, it'll burn you and kill you.
Yeah.
But he basically says it's like, yeah, apparently it used to be everywhere, but it's kind of dissipated now in a way that once you realize the reveal of that comet exploding, you're like, oh, that's how they all died. And then it just eventually over thousands and thousands of years disappeared until there's little patches that you're still kind of navigating.
And all this stuff happened to be in place that when our sun supernovaed, we just so happened to have this like weird warp thing in place where you arrive after you depart. We just happen to have all the stuff in place that we made a new universe.
Yeah.
Thankfully, but the old one had to die. It is this story of loneliness and failure and you are by yourself in space and dying constantly.
And very much like an acceptance thing where you get to the end of that game and you're like, fuck, that was a lot of fun. We couldn't make a difference at all.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do.
Yeah, we found the end. We found the eye, which is an accomplishment in itself, but it's not going to save the universe. You're kind of going to just sit in the eye and watch the universe explode, and then you are going to basically make a big bang to be like, well, in billions of years, we'll all start over again.
And you find one of the Nomai in the eye, which is like, oh, what the fuck?
He's on the moon. He's on the quantum moon.
Sorry, on the quantum
And then
moon,
he
yes. And
shows-
she can't. She can't. You have to use the verb and noun
because
stones.
you speak different languages.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
that
really
stuff's
well
all really
done.
cool.
I think you can make a difference by keeping it on the list.
Yeah, do it.
Tell me about Sekiro.
We don't. Let's just get rid of Sekiro.
Okay,
What is the
tell
story?
me
What
about
is the
Devil
story?
May Cry 5.
I've
owl-
played Sekiro
the
10
owl
times.
twist.
So what is the story of Sekiro? I don't know. Similarly, what is the story of Devil May
Okay,
Cry 5?
tell me about Man of Medan.
Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry has
Oliver's gonna pick
has
this one up.
has an interesting story.
Now, I've never played Devil May
Here we
Cry,
go.
but
But like, yeah, like
Hunker down.
I know it has a good story or an interesting story. Whether or not it's good or whatever, that's up for debate. But like,
Are you
I
talking
don't know.
about just number 5?
No.
Or the overarching?
No, the
series?
overarching
He can't 'cause
story.
He didn't play it.
Yeah. But like 5 comes in and there's like 3 characters. I'm like, fuck, these guys are cool. There's heavy metal playing. I'm sure there's fucking.
One
eh.
reads poetry. That's pretty good.
There you
Yeah.
go. See,
Yeah.
what about that?
So
reflects on
we're
the
keeping-
I
story,
just want to
So
give
we're
it its
keeping
due.
it.
I just want to give its due, and I want one of you guys to tell me the story.
Yeah, best looking
Briefly.
/ style, but
I didn't finish the story.
I did.
Just super briefly.
Okay, so in 4, Nero gets he has a double hand, which you learn later is actually the sword Yamato.
If this is just for me, actually, before you get started, if this is just for me, brevity's sake, let's probably not.
This is gonna be very brief.
Okay.
Have you played
good.
4?
He's halfway through.
Have you guys played 4? 4?
Nope.
Nero, Devil Hand. You
Devil
with me?
Hand, Devil
Nero
Hand,
has
go
Devil
ahead.
Hand in 4.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You learn in Devil May Cry 4 that hand is actually the sword called Yamato. That sword has a twin, which is called Rebellion, maybe? Dante has Rebellion. Usually Virgil has Yamato. Virgil not in this game. It's V. V is in this game, and I don't know. You go through the story and you find out that Virgil split into the bad guy who is posing
Big
as,
guy on the throne.
yeah, is posing as King Mundus, but actually maybe isn't. I don't remember. And also his poetry reading self named V, and it's very anime where the swords come together. Someone walks into Nero's shop
It's really
and
good.
cuts his fucking arm off and portals out. It's
Oh, I saw that.
Frodo has Sting.
Frodo's snake. It glows blue when orcs are
Yeah.
near.
Sounds like some anime ass shit.
Harry
It's super
Potter.
fucking anime.
You're
It's,
right,
it's
Matt.
super
Related
fucking
to
anime. So anime.
Voldemort's
And
wand.
honestly, the story is that these two swords and these two brothers, they team up and then they fight the bad guy and they destroy the giant demon tree called the Clyphod.
The demons we killed along the way.
Take it off the list.
They do there's weird censoring where in some versions you can see bums and in some versions the bums are out.
How much is left below this?
Not a ton.
Not a whole bunch.
Well, I'm just worried
Dan.
that I'm going to end up cutting something that at
You
the end of the
need
day, I'm like,
Put it back on.
I mean, I don't know what's left. So
If anyone feels strongly about Man of Medan, we can keep it, but I don't think so.
Nah.
No.
I don't
The
think anyone.
story is not that great.
Nah.
We pretty much predicted it.
Didn't play it.
I love Control to pieces. I would say the characters are incredible.
Yep.
The world is incredible.
Yep.
The surroundings are incredible. The story itself, I don't even.
Nah.
It depends on what you're looking at. Are you looking
I-
at the overarching story of
Yeah.
Control as a game, or
Jesse
are you
and-
looking just at like the AWEs and all the
no,
like,
I think
the
that's all
stuff?
part of the story. If I say to
of.
you, part of that story is all the altered world, anything you can pick up and read.
What if I didn't like? I guess we need to like define.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's side
It's fucking
stuff.
really good if you
No, it's
include all
super
that
good.
stuff. Yeah,
But
the actual story of the game, like the main story of the game.
I would
Control,
think of that as
Nah.
basically the A plot. I would think of like Jesse, Polaris,
Right.
Hedron, like
Right.
that stuff. I don't
Which-
think
I don't really give a shit about that.
It's okay.
Which-
it's okay, but
Yeah,
right
it's not
now,
horrible.
as we've been going down this list, I'd say even that A plot probably should stay down here at the way we're cutting some of these.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then I think if you include the B stuff
You're right.
and the world building around it, if that's part of the story, which we can decide,
Yeah.
I think all of a sudden Control's a
I think
contender.
you're right,
I
and
think-
I think get rid of Gears 5.
Yes.
I
yes
think
and yes.
all that extra stuff though should be more considered for game of the year and not story.
I'm,
Because
I'm kind of with
Okay.
you. If you
I
could,
think story
Touche.
should
because
be, should
could
be main quest.
you could play it and maybe never see any of that if you just main crit passive
I
in a
did
way that. It's our categories again.
Yeah,
I also
it's-
think we should be aware of what some stinkers we have towards,
Yeah.
particularly
Let's
the
let
bottom
them
two.
Leave Control for now. Gears can go.
I'm
I
taking
like
rid
the
of
Gears
Gears.
story.
Death Stranding can definitely go.
The Gears story is all right.
Knowing
but-
nothing about it.
I'll
I think
say
the
I'll say
Gears-
the second third, like the last third of the Gears story, where
Yep.
you're learning about Kate and the Queen, and that stuff is really interesting. What happens in the first two 2/3 of that game?
The Gear story is better than anything left below it on the list except for Jedi.
How does how does JD get his arm all burned? I honestly don't even remember. I know he reappears and is in a fucking like crazy arm cast thing. But how did he get all burned up? Do you remember?
I don't even remember the arm cast.
Great story of the year.
Oh, you might be wrong. It probably didn't happen.
That did because it was something with the Hammers of Dawn,
Oh,
and
no,
JD
Warren played,
JD
yeah.
was like, they're not targeting, and JD grabbed a thing, and that's when Kate
Yeah, 'cause he
Lizzie
tried to-
Oh, I
Carmine
was thinking of
dies.
Dell.
He made the
I was
Lizzie
thinking of Dell.
Carmine dies, and
Yeah,
he gets burned or some
JD tries
shit,
to
and-
rescue the girl who's in the truck.
Yeah.
Because
And
he had
the
already
satellite
made the
beams
mistake.
are-
and,
yeah.
And that's like 10 hours in. Like
That's early.
That's
That's the end of Act 1, I think.
I don't.
When the satellites
That
started
is-
burning down,
I
I'm
think
pretty sure
so.
that's before the first
Yeah,
open world thing.
you're totally right. Actually,
Yeah.
you're totally right.
It can stay on the first pass if we really want to.
I
I don't think it needs to.
I
I'm
don't
not,
feel
kid-
it
I'm not
holds
kidding.
at
There's
all.
not a thing under there other than Jedi that's better.
But there's two above it.
You're not
that
wrong.
are.
You're not
So
wrong.
we're
Can
already-
let's just take Modern Warfare off this list because
Yeah.
what is the story of
Yeah.
Modern Warfare? There's gas, but you spend
looks good.
you spend
Yeah.
an entire mission in the
But-
gas and are fine.
No.
No.
The
Yeah.
gas is no big deal. Outer Worlds I didn't finish.
Kill it.
Yeah, it's.
But-
I think
I don't give a shit about that story. I really don't care.
Yeah, I enjoyed that story quite a bit, but it got progressively
I'm
worse
just
towards
saying.
the end.
That was
Just
bad.
call it what it is.
Kill it.
It was neat in the beginning, and then it fell off, and that's why I stopped fucking playing it.
It is dead.
Death Stranding. I don't even know why it's on here. Honestly,
Just get it out of here.
that's a funny joke, but
I
the
don't
story
think
for
that was
that
one of my
game
jokes.
is
We just
fucking
can't
trash.
comprehend. I just think we're not sophisticated enough to comprehend.
It's our
Maybe-
North
maybe
American
that's it,
sensibilities.
It's our North American sensibilities. Is really
All
what it
right,
is.
so
If you
Fuck,
cut-
not a lot of passion for stories this year.
It's not like there's not a lot of passion for stories. I just don't think these are bangers as far as stories
They're
go.
not.
That's another way to say it.
Fallen Order. I think
You know, it's really our North American sensibilities.
Yeah.
I think Fallen Order is a fucking dope ass Star Wars story.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I don't think it was like holy shit amazing.
That's
did
where
not,
I'm at.
Did not blow
But
my
I
It
think
sounds like I'm
but-
shitting on it when I'm like, whatever. But
I think it's better
Let's
than
leave
Gears.
it. Let's leave it for the first pass because I think
yeah,
it's way
for the
better
first
than
pass,
Gears
it
also.
definitely deserves to stay for the first pass.
Well, we only have 1, 2, 3,
Cut
4
Gears.
games on this list, gentlemen.
Hey, look
Really
how
good job,
Look how good we
guys.
did. Hell
I would actually, looking at this list,
Cut
pose
Gears.
that we go back and uncut Walking Dead.
don't you
All of a sudden, when we got to the bottom of this list, and I was like,
That's exactly what you
we're
said.
cutting through a lot of these real quick.
Okay,
and-
wait.
Oh, God.
What if you played the final season having not played 1, 2, and 3?
Then you got lost.
Yeah, but like that's that's a
You
ridiculous
never
thing.
would?
That's like, what if you watch the final season of Game of Thrones without watching the rest of it?
That's what I did.
Oh, that'd be a bad way
It was
to go.
a terrible show.
Sorry,
Wow,
sorry to.
yeah.
So then Kingdom Hearts 3 is the greatest story.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Wait,
Okay, gets
what?
back on the list.
And again, I'm coming from, and I'll openly admit, I'm coming from a very biased place where I never connected with the Gears story.
I
Is
didn't
Gears 5 really that good? Where we're going to be like, this deserves to be in best story.
The best part of the Gears story is when they go back and explore the stuff from Gears 2.
Yes.
Which is in that mountain where you're going through and the AI is. And I was telling you this on the podcast. You and Aber, because I don't think you guys really care about the Gears story, were like talking through the cutscenes, and I was like fucking taking my headphones off because I was really interested in what was happening. And I would say it's maybe not.
That
Like, I don't know. I'm looking, I keep looking at the rest of the stuff on this list, and I was like, I don't know. Gears 5 is as good as most of this.
that
You
lab
guys are.
sounds
is
like
such
a
a small
moment.
piece of it.
That
though.
sounds like
You
a
guys-
moment more than a story, though.
I think it was too big to be a moment.
I think it's too
it
small to
was
be the whole story,
An entire
though.
act for sure.
Yeah.
And then I actually kind of like the last act too. So that's at least half.
remember it.
And
Kind of liked though.
yeah, but
That
you guys
story
all-
ends
so-
with
no,
like, we
but
got to get the Hammer of Dawn back.
I'm not
online,
saying this is
guys.
the best story in the world, but I'm saying you guys almost cut Control. I saved it for B plot stuff.
Hey, whoa,
which
whoa,
means
hey,
we'd be
whoa,
at
hey, I was there
3.
with you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're starting to get in a game of, you hear this talking
So
right now?
if
Is
we
that
cut-
alliances that are
If
happening?
we had hypothetically cut Control and Gears, we're left with Jedi, Outer Wilds, and what? Nothing?
We push
No,
Jedi.
we just cut Gears, and there's
No, but you
Outer
did.
Wilds
But
Control.
no, that's what I'm saying.
saying that? Is
Hypothetically,
that
you
what
guys were ready to cut Control.
Now it's starting to sound...
Because we were just going down. We were just going down the list.
Yeah,
we,
but you
we
almost
have
cut it.
lots
I
left.
literally stopped it from
Yeah.
being cut. You were like, I don't really care about the A plot. I just want to say, when I'm trying to uncut Walking Dead, if you
Yeah,
look at
no,
it
I
right
agree.
now, if
Let's
you
uncut
cut
it, sure.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm
say
saying.
I'm not
that,
arguing
cut
that at
Control
all.
and Gears, and
Yeah.
we're good.
I
If we're
think
uncutting
Walking Dead for
things-
sure belongs on this over Gears.
Yep.
Sure, yeah, me too.
1,000%.
Me too.
I agree.
Great. Let's put it. I don't know how to undo this on my
Control
list, but
C? No, that's
Well,
the
not
last.
through all of
That's
them.
the last action. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Caps lock.
and get rid of Gears. Do we feel okay
Yeah,
about
and
that?
Control.
Yeah.
Control.
And Control.
That's our top three.
That's your
I'm
top
with
three.
that. I totally.
And
Yeah.
bring back Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we said, the control A plot
Isn't that top
kind
two?
is
What?
not the best part
Right.
by any means.
My whole the
What's
thing I was
3?
trying to get to the bottom
Fuck,
of.
we cut Control.
Star Wars is at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
That's like what I was trying to say is like if
Control?
Your support.
I was your supporter, but it was like no one else cared about
He
Control.
did it while I wasn't even fucking looking.
It's not done. It's not permanent. Relax.
we can,
relax.
We can uncut it. But it was like
Control's
when people
back,
were saying,
bitch.
"Well, no one cares." Like, Gear doesn't matter with Gears, and I was like, "What else is up there? There's nothing.
Yeah.
Gears might be one of the top 3 stories of the year. It's close.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I like this list. I like Walking Dead, Outer Wilds, Jedi.
yeah, me too. That's probably my 3.
I'm totally in. I totally agree. Control. I love Control to pieces, but that A plot, they don't even close it off. The end of that A plot is like, I don't know.
this
It
is-
meant nothing. I guess.
This is where it comes down to, and the reason why I'm having an issue with it is because I haven't played all of the last season of Walking Dead, so I don't know how well of it stands on its own. Control is a new IP that comes out and is interesting enough for me to get invested in without having any sort of other, external like previous experiences that are attached to it. That's why I like Control. Yes, I can concede that the regular, like, you know, A story is maybe not the strongest.
Like, what even happens? What is Hedron? What is Polaris?
I don't fucking know.
Like
Exactly.
Hedron is a conduit for Polaris.
Exactly. But what does that mean?
It's a little confusing.
I know they
It's in
say that, but
Hedron is where Polaris lives. When
Polaris
Hedron
is
is
a
broken,
being?
Polaris lives in you.
is Polaris like a separate
I will
sentient?
say-
Are you the player Polaris? Is kind of the idea.
No, Polaris. Well, they kind of talk to you, the player, sometimes in a way that made me think maybe that's what they're doing.
And, like, what
but
is
I think
happening
Polaris is a unconscious being
What is happening with Dylan? Like at the end of that game, he's just like, tune in and find out, motherfuckers.
having a good time.
See you next year in the DLC.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I won't argue too hard for it. I was just, if we had let Control go and then cut gears, we would have got to the bottom of the list, and I'd be like, well, we got 2 now. What do you want?
Fuck, we think Jedi Fallen Order has better. Goddamn.
Totally. I think Jedi Fallen Order is a tight fucking Star Wars. I do not like the combat or the way it plays. It is a dope Star
That's a
Wars
good story.
story.
It's a good story.
All right.
There's a little bit of fucking around with like giant birds in the middle. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. But
I just think that between what we have here, the two that were standing on their own in terms of new IP were Outer Wilds and Control.
it's
And I
not,
think
it's
Control
not
had a lot of-
newest. It's not newest.
It's not, no,
story,
but
right?
there's definitely something to be said as far as
You know,
bringing
space-
a new IP and having it be interesting enough to catch your attention.
Yeah, like laying
but-
the groundwork for a feature.
Yeah.
like
Newest IP.
laying some eggs or
Star Wars is the newest
not,
IP.
Star Wars ain't a new IP at all. Star
I
Wars,
think-
that's what he's saying.
Again,
like,
what I,
shit.
this comes to the crux of what I'm arguing is that Walking Dead, and you guys can speak to it, those of you that have played it, and try to be objective as you can. Try to think if you've never played and you do not have the attachments to the previous stuff, you don't have the Clem and Lee and all that stuff, kind of throwback stuff. Does it stand on its own? Is it a really good story, or
that's not. Like
that's
I
what
said,
I'm fucking saying?
But,
Damn it!
but like I said earlier, that's not the category where if you watch the last season of Game of Thrones, of course Game of Thrones is a pile of shit. And yes, if you go into Walking Dead 4, having not played 1, 2, 3, then you're like, what is happening?
Right.
I think
It was
just
a very
feels-
good closure.
I totally
on that-
agree.
on that
If you
fourth
cannot
episode.
answer that Walking Dead does stand on its own without all the other previous things within it, like the previous
Do you think
games,
if you main passed Control and never touched any of the side content and never saw any of the objects of power, that main
I
story
think it's
would
impossible
hold
to not touch any of the sides.
No, it definitely is. You can definitely crit path.
You can crit path.
If you did the minimum amount of content in Control,
Warren burned through it.
like it's the
Yes.
exact same question. If you did the minimum content and only saw Jesse, Polaris, you went back to the town, you would miss all the Darling, most of the trench, all the objects, every single
This is
object
a
of power.
very
you've
hard
never seen.
argument for me to
Matt, but
actually
that's what-
argue
that's
because
what
I
you're
haven't
asking
played
me.
because I haven't played Walking Dead.
That's
You
what you're
played both
asking me.
Control and Walking Dead. That's
Where you're
why
like-
I'm arguing.
Theoretically,
I-
if you've never played either,
I played through Fallen Order with no previous, pretty much Star Wars experience whatsoever. I've seen like the odd movie and stuff like that, and I thought it did hold its own as a story. It is pretty fleshed out,
I'll say that for Fallen Order. I don't think it's the greatest story that I've played.
but
this
it was
year,
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty
and like
good.
we did just vote that 66 was a good moment.
for sure.
Second best
So,
moment
and
in the
that's
game.
very heavily tied into the story.
I'm not arguing
So-
against Fallen Order.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with
these.
like
Yeah,
I
Fallen
don't
Order
know
number
because
one.
I didn't play the Walking Dead series.
Yeah.
I don't know if 4 or the
Missing a
final
piece of the
season
puzzle.
holds its own without the previous commitment to 1, 2,
the
and 3.
category is not does it stand by itself? Like if there was a sequel
in
to
a-
a game,
no,
you're
I
gonna get
realize
caught up
that.
on this new IP thing, but that
In
kind
a-
of doesn't factor in.
Yeah, in the 4th season of a 4-season arc,
Yeah.
it has to
Totally.
It should be a good story on its
Like
own.
if
but
you've
it's
never,
ridiculous.
if
to be
you've
like,
never ever
That's
in
the
your
point I'm
life
making.
seen
Yeah.
Star Wars, you're like, what the fuck is happening? Who's this dude with the red lightsaber? This is dumb. This dude just showed up and murdered me. I don't even know who this is.
But my point is, it's very hard for me to argue against what you're saying because I haven't played Walking Dead, so I can't speak to the story on its own.
I will say, if
Whereas I can
you'll
speak
have
to
to
Control.
trust- you'll have
I
to
can.
trust me, I guess.
I can, however, speak to the story of Control on its own.
I
Based
don't know
on
what else to
I've
tell
played.
you other than you.
I would
trust
wager.
me.
I would wager that Walking Dead maybe is a little bit shitty if you don't factor in the rest of it. I know you don't like me doing that, but however, Control being something, regardless if it's new or not,
Sure.
it's something that doesn't.
I
have-
think if you,
I pretty much mainline Control this week, and I did not really care for that story at all.
yeah, it very much becomes a if you were to take my definition of best story, which includes all the redacted documents and everything,
Yeah.
like
that you
Gears,
pick up
Gears
along
5
the
is not
way.
on this list if we're doing the you've never played anything in the IP before.
No, God no.
Because that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But if you're taking in the redacted documents and all the stuff that you get in the codec and everything along the way,
It's a weird thing to judge too because there's so much of that.
right?
You know.
then I think Control is maybe number one. It's
Sure.
unbelievable that stuff, the world they made with all that stuff. Every single thing I picked up and read, or every movie I watched, I was like, this is
Best world building.
flawlessly done.
Most and best world building, maybe.
For me, that is part of best story. I brought that up right at the beginning of this category.
Yeah.
We kind of decided.
That's why I'm fighting really hard for
Right.
it because Control was that for me.
Yeah, and if that stuff is not best story and best story is just the A plot, then I could 100% see Control falling.
Well, we have Warren here who didn't experience any of that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the Control story?
Yeah, exactly. Is that I didn't like it. Wasn't.
And
no,
like
that is proving my point. Is the A plot I'm saying would fall off.
Well,
it's all the stuff that Warren
Well, I mean,
didn't experience.
we have to, like, if you've played through a game, if you've played a game start to finish and seen credits,
Right.
we have to kind of consider that having seen the story, I
Right.
think. Because it would be 100% every single game forever, and
it-
only then can
Because
we
at the same
consider it the
time,
story.
like if somebody walked up to you and said, "Hey, what's the story of Control?" You're gonna pretty much tell them the mainline stuff, aren't you? You're gonna tell
Well-
them that it's this, and then this, and then this happens, and then this is how it ends.
That's the problem for me. Is at that point I'm like, and I don't want to argue up my own case, but Outer Wilds doesn't have an A plot.
It's a very weird one where
Yeah.
you do have to
Yeah.
experience, to finish the game, you do have to experience
You have to
a
go
chunk of
look
that.
around, and every little
It'll be
corner
different
you
for
poke your
everybody.
nose in is part of that story.
Yeah, it'll
But then
totally
because
be-
they decided to give you a plot in Control, all of a sudden you're like, well, it doesn't matter the stuff you find along the way. It's the stuff they spoon
But
feed you.
we
It's-
have to make the decision somewhere, because the expectation can't be play every piece of content in a video game to decide if that is best story.
No, but it's like,
is it-
in BioShock, if you would have told me what's the A plot is pretty good, but
Yeah.
it's all those diaries
Maybe-
I found along the way that made the BioShock story incredible.
Maybe it's not the A plot that it's the lore that you get along the way.
I don't like all I can do is try and compare it to other video games where, like,
That-
if this,
yeah,
was, if
that's
this
what I'm
was The
doing.
Witcher, would we be like, oh, well, you didn't see these side quests, so that's
Not fair. though.
count.
The Witcher is
I would say
fucking massive.
I would say The Witcher is the
That
best
is-
story because of all the Bloody Baron and stuff.
that is exactly that is
But also,
that
but
is
also,
fair. Like,
you're right. But also, I will say, yeah, The Witcher has fantastic side. It has fantastic
like
beat story.
Is the
As
Bloody
does
Baron
Control.
and that stuff, is that not story?
that's you have to do the Bloody Baron. That's a plot.
That is
You
a
cannot
plot.
you cannot
That
finish
is
the
a
game
plot.
without
Well,
Bloody
okay,
Baron.
there's a lot of good
Yeah.
side stuff.
It's
is,
some of the best
there
stuff,
is.
totally,
yeah,
but like
you wouldn't consider that story.
not for the purpose of this category. Just
Okay.
because we can't expect everyone to play every single piece of a game. If you
Sure.
if you played a game start to finish, like, yeah, I've seen the story.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm totally fine leaving the list as it is based on
For that,
the
for that-
definition of the category that I disagree with. But if we're going down that road, I can see how Control is not on this list.
Well, for that matter of argument, then with Walking Dead, for every single time you go through a Walking Dead, you're not going to experience every single bit of dialogue, and certainly some of the stuff that you choose is going to drastically affect your outcome.
It's true.
Right, and your story
Yeah.
is
So
that.
then it comes into the same realm as what we've been talking about.
your story
really.
is that a plot that there can be multiple endings in the game. Your story is that plot you experience and the ending you get. But we can't be like, well, did you have the conversation with blank? Or you didn't have the conversation, so now your opinion's invalid because you were missing information, so you can't. How can you know
It's
what
just
the whole
crazy.
game
I'm
was
thinking
about?
like some of my favorite games, like Mass Effect and stuff, where it's
most
like
expansive universe, really.
the most expansive universe, and so much of that expansive universe is, for me, part of the story that you poke your nose in and learn stuff in the codec about these different alien races and stuff that you did not need to even touch.
For the purposes of this, we probably wouldn't call loyalty missions part of the story because there would be some of us who didn't do them. There would be some of us who got different endings and didn't do whatever thing. And
It feels wrong to not count.
we
Yeah.
we need to make the decision.
I know,
like, right
I know,
now.
I know,
So
I
if
know.
I'm the only voice who
All right, so
No, I
feels
tend to
this
agree
way?
with you.
take out Outer Wilds, put in Control.
Yeah, but that's based
well, no, then
on
let's
adding
revisit
the
this whole
plot.
category
Yeah.
because things have changed now.
I mean, you could take out Outer Wilds if that's the category. You could take out Outer Wilds and put something else in, for sure.
Control.
I would
No,
be
because
okay.
Control is in the same category as Outer Wilds. It's made.
Oh,
on
sorry.
its-
I thought we were.
No.
We were not doing what I want. And
Right.
Okay.
Can you scroll up real quick? Like, what is above Fire Emblem? What else? It's just Walking. Life is Strange.
That's
and
the
Walking Dead.
whole list right there. Pretty much. Jedi Fallen Order.
I really wish I had played Walking Dead because then I could be much more better equipped to discuss the actual core stories. You know what I mean? Fuck.
There's no side.
Nobody
stuff in
cares
Kingdom
about this
Hearts 3.
category anyways. Give some pity game the medal here and let's move on. They're not going to win anything
Kingdom Hearts
else.
3?
Kingdom Hearts 3, give that the gold.
Shut up.
Hang on.
Really-
He's on
really-
to something.
Really, all I wanted to do was just address the fact that Control is getting swapped out for.
I think the
Walking
A
Dead
plot in
and
Control
make,
is
and make
bad.
that.
I love Control. It
Yes.
is maybe I don't know if it's my one
And
or two.
Control's
It is
going to
up
be
there.
a top 3
It
game
is
of the
definitely
year.
one of my
so it
games
can
of the
take
year.
a hit here.
Yeah.
But I recognize that it has.
That's
faults.
okay. I just
We're getting, it is a definition thing. Like, I would always consider that stuff part of the story. If we are not, then I am 100% with you guys.
If you're
Control
confident
is
enough,
not
It's
that
so it's
story.
so hard.
if you're confident enough that the A story for Walking Dead is pretty solid,
well, there is
I'll
only
trust
an
it.
A
It's only
story.
the A
There is
story.
only
That's
an
true.
A story.
That's true.
Right? You experience it.
I'll concede. It's fine. We can move on. I just wanted to at least argue.
It's very good.
for that sake. For
it
Control.
ends very. It
You
somehow
know why
makes
I was
good.
arguing for Control. as
Totally,
well.
and I love
You get
Control
it.
the
You get
Pieces.
it.
Like, if we had a world building category or something, and maybe we should revisit the definition of this for next year or
Yeah.
something, because I
That was-
agree that Control has the best writing of the year, hands down. But
Okay, so
Some of the best characters.
yeah,
It's weird. It's a
It just
weird
and it
category.
just the way it's game of the year, baby. It's game of the year, baby.
So keeping all of that in mind, that you were batting around between Control and Walking Dead, that means Walking Dead 3, Outer Wilds 2, and Star Wars 1.
That's what I was saying.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm fine
I
with
think
Star Wars winning.
I'm okay with Star Wars. Though.
Especially now that I'm questioning Outer Wilds' even role in
I think I'm okay with
this
it.
category.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
so hard.
I was looking at the list and I'm like, fuck, Fallen Order's 1, and then I looked at the list and I'm like, actually, none of these have really great stories.
It's a bad year for video games.
It's really
Rough-
not
rough
good as far
story
as
year.
like just narrative. Like just
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like
It's,
I'm like bullying anyone or anything.
no.
We all feel
It's
okay.
not a-
We all-
it's- I don't think it's a rough year for stories. It's a rough year for
I think we
kind of A plots that they
Yes.
kind of like.
I think that
just
was a
walk you
healthy
through.
discussion we had.
Yeah.
honestly.
Games are becoming weird and hard to define.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
Absolutely.
Okay, we feel okay about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Best story of the year we decided was Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes. I am 100%
Yes,
comfortable
we
with that.
didn't even
pick.
have to say anything.
Now we just have to do the same thing for Game of the Year.
No problem.
With Slay the Spire.
Something I do want to say is
we're
that
doing
we should
it.
probably
We're doing it.
we should probably like redefine all of these categories.
Yeah, you need hard set rules.
because there's a lot of moneyness when it comes to
No, we get through it.
Well, all right, somebody drop a legal
where the fuck are you
document.
guys in September when I'm like, are we good about these categories? They're like, yeah, fucking that's in January. I don't give a fuck. And then every year,
we're all reactionary.
what was number 2? Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
You know, in hindsight, these categories are bullshit.
Number 3 was
Walking
not
Dead.
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead,
Sorry. Yeah, not Control.
Missed the 3.
Don't forget the 3.
It disappeared.
What?
Is that 2? That is 2 for Jedi.
Fucking shit, I can't type at all. Congratulations to Jedi Fallen Order for the best story of the year. Runners up Outer Wilds and Walking Dead Season 3.
Hell yeah.
Honored to be nominated.
Dead.
Honored to be nominated.
Oh, Maxie's editorializing in the chat.
I'm just saying. I literally am just echoing what I said in the argument. I'll read what I said. I said we've never said this podcast and the lists we make are necessarily the most accurate. And I said I'm with you. I don't think Star Wars should be first. I also agree that side stories should factor in. However, that is not what we're doing right now. For the sake, you have to understand, for the sake of progressing the show, sometimes some concessions need to be made.
Yes, these
That's 90% of this.
That's right. These definitions were locked in before the year rolled over. As with 2020, we can just change these things. As soon as it hit 2020, it was like locked in. So next year we can revisit.
As a man
what the
who-
fuck best story means.
As a man who loves him some fucking B plot and supplemental material story, I would put a vote in for a more expansive idea of story for next year.
We'll talk about.
Also, you got to understand too, Game of the Year is coming up, so that's where the real bargaining chips.
Oh
in.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where maybe I don't back down.
You know what we should
Depending.
do? Just put little redacted bars on all.
That's right. Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back here for the finale of these categories. It's the 6-1
shit.
2019's Game of the Year. It'll sound a lot like all of that.
Hey,
I'll
we're
see
doing
ya
okay.
in just a minute.
9:30 to 3:30.
We're powering
This is,
through.
this is the
Also,
last part.
get your food, your bedrolls. Prepare for 7 to 12 hours of Game of the Year discussion.
Oh, no, this is going to be perfection. This
Did
is
you
going to
guys-
be.
It's not gonna
so
be.
it's this, and this, right? All right, we're done.
I'm done.
See you later, boys.
Outta
Play
here.
Jackbox.
Did you guys feel it in that last category? Starting to get a little feisty.
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah. I literally typed in chat. I was like, "You guys hearing it? You guys hearing it?"